Now we can speak to Mark Montgomery, a retired Rear Admiral with the US Navy, now a Senior Fellow at the Foundation for the Defence of Democracies. Welcome to BBC News. Do you genuinely think that a deal is close now?
No. I mean, for the exact reasons Tom laid out, which is that the Ukrainians are agreeing to a Ukrainian-U.S. deal kind of brokered by Marco Rubio. The Russians are agreeing to a Putin-Witkoff deal, brokered by Witkoff. So these are two very different deals. President Putin has never shown any indication that he would concede, any of the points that the Ukrainians are making in the U.S. Ukrainian paper. So I suspect we're not very close, and it's going to get ugly over the next 10 days.
So what do you read into this latest statement on Truth Social from the president, who does believe that things are moving very quickly in the right direction?
Well, I think that's aspirational, much like his Thanksgiving deadline was aspirational for Ukraine agreeing to the previous 28-point plan, which was never going to happen. I suspect there won't be anything until the United States actually pressures Russia. Russia is the one not willing to make the concessions on either security guarantees, the positioning of assurance forces, those kind of issues. And until Russia is pressured, Putin won't concede anything.
And who's going to put that pressure on Russia, do you think, then?
Well, the only person who can is President Trump.
And will he, though, is the question.
Yeah, he tends to get peeved when Putin blows up his plans, and that's about to happen. President Putin is not going to accept the agreement as shown to him by Witkoff in the next few days. And President Trump will recognize again that President Putin has no willingness to make a concession or to stop his unabated warfare, to achieve his goals. And then President Trump will have the option again of imposing sanctions, which we were very close to last Friday. One of the reasons I think Russia put this forward rapidly with Witkoff was last Friday we should have put secondary sanctions on China, Turkey, and India for taking Shadow Fleet fuel. And that was backed off of by the Treasury Secretary in light of this latest breakthrough with Russia, which, of course, was not a breakthrough.
And just very briefly, if I may, because we've only got about a minute or so left, what about Europe? Because in some ways they've been taken out of this process, haven't they?
Well, I think they did a good job working with President Zelensky of reinserting themselves with Marco Rubio into that side of it. I think Europe's angle into this is always with and through Ukraine. The United States sees itself as a broker between the two warring parties, which Europe sees itself as a supporter of Ukraine. So I think they put themselves back in. Look, Europe's going to be critical to how we eventually get to some type of ceasefire, and they can't be ignored, whether it's as the assurance forces, as the people paying for the weapons that probably come mostly from the U.S. Defense Industrial Base. Europe's a key player. They can't be ignored.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Mark Montgomery there, a retired Rear Admiral with the US Navy.